Everybody, here's my first video. I promised you. I've been trying very hard all day to tape this, and every time I've taped it, something's happened with the dogs. Whether it's the cat outside that Wednesday's got to bark at, or Pugsley's got to bark because he's not on my lap, or whatever. He says, hello, my messy room. Anyways, so I want to split this up into parts. The first part being suicide souls, and if they feel remorse or guilt in regards to taking their own lives. And I'm going to tell you that in all the cases of clients that have come to me to reach out to a suicide, a family member, a friend, whatever, and also the suicides that I've dealt with in my life over the years, 100% they regret it the minute they realize that they're gone. Okay? That's the first thing I wanted to get out of the way. The second thing I wanted to get out of the way was a huge pet peeve of mine when in regards to discussing suicide with people that find out that I'm a medium and that I have this ability and all this. My whole entire life, I was brought up pretty strict for a while, Roman Catholic, went to Catholic school, you know, all that stuff. A very abusive mom. It's a long story. I hid this gift. Many people that I went to high school with or elementary or middle school still don't know that I have this ability, but since I moved here, which is weird, but since I moved to Louisiana, I've just let it out. I just came out of the closet, and you know what? I've lost some friends, and you know what? That's unfortunate. I'm not a guru person up there making millions of dollars like the lady on TV. You know, there's several of them that I don't believe that are real. Even though I am one, I'm not a psychic, but I am a medium and intuitive, and I help people with health issues. I help people with animal issues because I can communicate with them differently than people. I help people with all kinds of things, but I'm not a millionaire. I'm actually very poor. I live literally paycheck to paycheck. People who take their lives are not cowards. I hate that term. Someone asked me the other day, we discussed this, and they were like, well, that's the coward's way out. And then one of the ones was, and this is like huge for me, is they're just taking the easy way out. That pissed me off. And I'm sorry if I'm offending whoever said that, but it's so far from the truth that that's the easy way out. First off, I'm going to say something that's going to offend and probably insult families and friends of people who have committed suicide, but I'm going to tell you something. Because I can communicate with the other side, I look at death differently. I'm not afraid of dying anymore. I don't have that fear or hang up that all these humans do. And I keep saying humans because I feel I'm more spiritual and more of my soul than my human body. My human body is my vessel I'm using while I'm here. That's it. You don't die. Your physical body dies. Your human body dies. But you do not die. And so I'm not afraid of death because my cousin Robbie, my friend Chris, my friend Mark, who's the most recent really, and Tommy, all these people that have died in my life come through to me throughout my life. I don't go asking for them to come around. They are around me. Robbie is around me more than any of them because we had a really good relationship. And they show you the truth about people. They show you what really is going on. So that's one thing that I think made me lose a lot of friends, because when they know me, they're like, get out of my head. And I don't do it on purpose. I do stop it now, but back when I didn't know how to control it, I could get into someone's head. And what I mean by that is the first few minutes that I meet you, whether online or in person, I know your intent as a person. What I mean by that is I read your aura and I read who you are, and I know what kind of person you are. So if you're a really shitty, crappy person, I know that immediately. Or if you're distrustful, I know that immediately. Or if you're really sweet and have great energy, I know that immediately. If you have a health issue that throws off your energy, I'll know that as well. So getting back to them, they are not thinking about their mom, their dad, their sister, their brother, their wife, their children. I hate to sound so cruel, but they're not thinking about any of that. They are so overwhelmed, so stifled by the pain of the depression, the pain of the darkness. And almost every single case I've worked on with a client in regards to a suicide has been when someone has had something tragic happen to them in a childhood. And what I mean by that is being molested, which I can relate to because I was molested by 2 different people as a child, and I went through some pretty horrendous abuse after my sisters both moved out of my mom's house, that I don't really talk about with a lot of people. And most people that were growing up, like my cousins and family members, had no clue. They think my mom was the greatest mom. Yeah, she wasn't. And I'm not trying to talk ill of the dead, but she shouldn't have been a mom, and I went through some pretty horrific things. And I think it's made me a better person, and it's made me be able to connect better with people, especially people on the other side who had that pain, and that's why they left. So they are not thinking about you. They're not thinking about what's going to happen to my children, what's going to happen to my dog, what's going to happen to my car, what's going to happen to my mom. They're not thinking that. I'm sorry, they're just not. They're so consumed by the pain, the demons, the darkness, that they just want it to end. So what happens is your spirit versus your body now, remember I talked about that. Your spirit just wants to go back to where it's unconditional love. That's all it is. When you leave this body and you go to where you think you go, because it depends on your beliefs, but for me, when I go where I go to the light and to the source, guess what? I'm all love. And so that's all they want to feel is no pain. So they just want to go back home. And that's their soul. Their soul wants to stop hurting because the body is dragging it down. So no, they don't. They do regret it, though. I will tell you this. They do regret it. I'm not going to say who, but someone who came through to me that had killed themselves before anybody even said anything to anybody about him. I knew it, and I didn't know how to come out of the closet to tell my friend if our friend killed themselves, because he came to me through a dream, and I thought, well, this dream was really like when spirits come to me that I see in missing person cases and other cases. Why is he coming through showing me this? And then, you know, I experience it where not many mediums do it this way, but I experience it where I'm going through it exactly with the person. That's why it takes so much out of me. So what I mean by that is if someone was murdered, gun, knife, raped, whatever, I feel it like I am the one experiencing it. My body and my mind. So you have to understand it's me in this body, but I'm experiencing it. I'm just not seeing the physical wounds, right? So that was one of the really hardest ones for me because no one back home knew about my abilities except a few people. And so he showed me some pretty horrific things when he killed himself. And he immediately regretted it. And he still, to this day, I mean, he regretted it, but he can't do anything. He's on the other side. So, for those of you who have lost loved ones or friends to suicide, please understand. I know you are a compassionate person and you wanted to help this person, and why didn't they ask for help? Because they're so engulfed in the pain that they would never ask for help. When I went through suicidal thoughts once in my life, and I don't really want to talk about it in detail right now, but no one would have known it. And that's just the way it is. We just carry our pain like that. People who have been through so much in their life, so much turmoil, are the nicest people you'll meet, and you'll never know their pain. People here that I live here in a state where not a lot of people know me from childhood, would have no idea of the things that I've been through because I don't carry them on me anymore, and I only share them when they are pertaining to a client who comes to me who had a child kill themselves or an adult kill themselves. So the child who kills themselves, you have to realize children have 80% more things in the world today than we did as children. And what I mean by that is movies, TV, video games are 100 times more available to them. The cable was different when we were kids. We were forced to go outside all the time. Kids are not forced to go outside anymore. Schools, there's so much more bullying now, and it's all about all the news media going on. So then the kids see all this crap on TV that's not necessarily right. So they believe everything they see because, the media never lied, right? So now you got your child hearing this crap on TV. So then they start to worry and stress. What if something happens to mom or dad? What if these people break into our house? Whatever. So you have to understand they have the combination of school, the news, the horrible games, and then the bullying at school. And then on top of that, this is one of the factors that adds in, is the foods are really, really much worse now than they were when we were kids 40 years ago, longer than 40 years ago, 40 to 50 years ago, because now the foods are more processed. People are eating, I think I did the research like 3 years ago when I first started looking into processed foods. The numbers were astronomical, like 90% more people eat out. I mean, like the amounts that they eat out, like 2 to 3 times a day, fast food. Okay, so do you know how much hormones and shit are in that food for your kid? Do you know how much crap is in there? I can go on 3 videos with how bad wheat is for you and prove everything that I'm saying. So if you're feeding your kid all this shit and then all this other stuff around, and then you're a parent that's not involved because you have to work, because guess what? We all have to pay bills because the world sucks right now, right? And so everything's expensive unless you're born into a privileged life or you're a movie star or have millions of dollars, right? So your child has all this shit, and then they're not going to tell you, Mom, I need help. Because parents look at children differently. I never would have went to my dad or my mom about any of the shit I went through as a kid. You go to your other friends, and if your friends don't know what to look for, guess what? You open up the newspaper and there it is. Your friend killed themselves. And I'm not trying to be cruel, but the signs are there, but people aren't looking for them. So maybe I could do a episode of what are the signs in most children. What are the reasons behind it? Because there's a lot of reasons why children do that nowadays. And, you know, it's sad. It's really sad what we portray to our children now in all these media and everything. It's just really sad. I'm sorry, I'm going on a rant on 11 minutes. This is my first video. Please comment or make any kind of questions or suggestions on it, and I'll try to not ramble so much on the next one and get to the subject matter and then go to the third video. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm sorry it was a little heavy because we're talking about a subject that's sad. Alright, I'll see you soon.